that Denise is the only one here that was at our wedding 40 years ago. Bob reminded me that we were there too. My brothers couldn't make it tonight, but are here in spirit. My parents, my dad called Bob Captain Bob, and that certainly fits with our trip tonight. My mom always said as we left Canada and moved place to place, follow your family. She had wanderlust. And the other thing I've said often is that Captain Bob hasn't steered us wrong yet as we move to new locations and adventures. Back to the people you meet along the way. Toronto to Rockville, Maryland for 3 years, where we met Kurt and Carmel, who are here tonight, and my good friends Kathy and Karen and their families who couldn't be here. Even though I would say this was my hardest move, leaving my family in Canada, these wonderful people came into our lives and never left. After 3 steps, next stepped on our journey, Westford, Mass. Again, I had to trust Captain Bob and know he wouldn't steer us wrong. We settled in and found wonderful people while raising our kids. Originally from our street, Village View, here tonight, Joanne and Rupert, Kirsten and Brian, Sandy and Joe, and also from Westford, Chip and Vicky. And Bob and I grew as a couple. Days when I loved him to bits, days when I wondered if I could survive one more day. Strength of friends, faith, and family pulled us through. In 2013, Bob saw a small company in New Jersey that he was interested in. And with the kids out of the house, I followed in 2014. New Jersey? Now you're pushing me to the brink. And I would say if the boat got off course, that might have been when. We endured, and Bob righted the ship to Williamsville, New York in 2016. Again, it's the people you meet along the way. Our amazing neighbors, Mike and Mary Grace, John and Ruth, and many others. We love living outside Buffalo and being close to family in Canada. Bob was able to retire in 2021, and shortly after we returned to Massachusetts, to Framingham and Learned Pond. And again, it's the people who make the location. Here tonight, a few of those neighbors, Marie and Peter, Jim and Patty, Pete and Allie. Being in a neighborhood with families, with kids, is a joy. Are we here to stay? I sure hope so. But regardless where the journey takes us, it's the people you meet along the way. And to the man who took us on this journey, tonight I can say, I love you to bits. So a toast to Bob, family, and friends.
Do I get a kiss? Okay, first things first. So we have a small contest, and Julie wants to remind you that if you haven't filled out the little sheet with the chronological order of our pictures, which Julie and I don't agree on, please do. There's a bottle of champagne there, which is very nice. And, oh my gosh, I have to shout out to Joe Modal. Joe Modal texts us at 8 a.m. this morning, and Joe says, we just happened to call the hotel and they don't have a hotel room for me tonight. And all of the hotel rooms at the Renaissance were booked for last night, not tonight. So, God help us, Joe. Thank you so much, even though he's a Bruins fan. That we were able to. Okay. And this is a very important event tonight, as you all know. It's Game 7 between the Leafs and the Bruins. Yes. I will let you all know that I've been wearing my Toronto Maple Leaf boxer shorts for the whole series.
TMI.
Yes, that's okay. That's okay. 40 years of marriage. Okay, so as Julie mentioned, she has 3 brothers. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it here, but I'd like to play you the audio messages that they sent us. So hopefully you'll be able to hear these as we today. Okay, just a second. Okay, so I'll read them. Okay, from Andy. Andy is famous for 2 things. One, he's Julie's youngest brother. Denise and Andy were going out at the time and introduced Julie and I together. So that's how we got together. Hello, Bob and Julie. Happy 40th anniversary. Seems like just yesterday that I was walking Julie home from Baskin & Robbins. This is just about the time that Julie thought a perm would be a good idea. After I introduced Bob and put him through some rigorous screening from Jack McClure, his father, but it wasn't until a backyard barbecue where Bob entered himself in a beer drinking contest against each of the 3 brothers. We saw the real Bob. He showed a lot of determination, but despite putting in a good effort, he really wasn't in the game. And the next day, he realized that the whole family was nuts. But he hung in there, and here we are today. Happy anniversary. Guys, love, Sue and Andy.
Mr. Julie and husband, happy 40th anniversary. Truly something to celebrate. You both, along with Eric and Leah, have had a wonderful lifetime of adventures and journeys. So many places, both in Canada and the U.S. Both your careers are admirable. Your influence and leadership is life-changing for many. We regret not being able to cruise with the Boston Harbor with you today and your loved ones. Shelley and I are on another body of water, the Norwegian Sea.
Much love, happiness, and shared adventures in all your years to come. God bless the 4 of you. Much love, John, Shelley, Caitlin, and Aaron, Amanda and Dave, and all 4 precious grandsons. We love you all.
That was John, Julie's older brother, and then this is Jim, Julie's eldest brother.
Hi, Julie and Bob. It's Kathy and Jim from Crete, Ontario. We are very sorry, but we cannot attend your Dog and Pony show because the last episode of Power Rangers is on that afternoon. Well, summer's here. The snow is gone. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been eliminated from the playoffs, and the Blue Jays are in last place. On top of that, the skunks, raccoons, porcupines, and possums are wandering around our backyard. Nothing has changed up here in Canada, and I sent you a typical voicemail of the attitude of employees at the railroad in Canada. You can pick it up off your computer. All the best, and say hello to President Joe when he drops in later. Thank you. Bye now.
There we go. Well, Jim is the most eclectic of the 3 brothers. Okay. All right. So a little bit background. So Julie's mother, who unfortunately couldn't be here. You know, when Julie and I first met, I was supposed to meet Julie this one evening. So I go out to a hockey arena to meet her, she doesn't show up, which I think was all set up. So her mother's there, right? Andy was playing. And, after I meet her mother, I said, "So, Jewel, what did your mom have to say?" And the best thing that her mother had to say was, "Well, he's got really nice teeth." Okay. So another anecdote. When I initially talked about doing speeches, I asked Julie if she wanted to, and she said sure. I think I'll do stand-up comedy. And Julie has never done stand-up comedy in her life before. And you can imagine, as a doting husband, my response, I said, "Oh, that sounds like a really interesting thing to do, dear." Needless to say, we found a way out of that. Okay. One other thing, when we started planning this event, I asked Julie if we should renew our vows. She said, "Are you kidding me?" Okay, wish me all the best of luck. I hope to be here on number 41. Things about Julie. Those of you who don't know Julie may know, or those who do know Julie very well, know that at 8 p.m. She turns into a pumpkin most nights. It's her bedtime, and so literally any time after this for the next, and there may be others in the crowd like this. So for the next hour, if Julie's dozing off, please remind her of that. But I will tell you, one of the interesting things. Julie and I get married, and we had our honeymoon in Florida. And as we were driving through Florida, actually from, I think, Orlando back somewhere. So remember, you meet each other, you get engaged, you sort of think you know each other, but you don't really know each other. We're driving on the road, and she goes, "Isn't that interesting? There's all these snakes on the highway." And I'm going, "Snakes?" And as we're driving down these Florida turnpikes, there's all these Michelin snakes and B.F. Goodrich snakes. It's all the tires that have been shredded. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I got to get her out more often. Okay, so just another funny story. Love languages. Have any of you heard of love languages? Some people have heard of them. Okay, so acts of service. Any of those a love language for people here? Well, maybe a couple. Receiving gifts. Oh, yeah, okay. Quality time. Yeah, okay. Physical touch. Okay, that was a good one. So, as Julie mentioned, I started trying to retire. I'm trying to get there, but she brings up love languages, and she says, hers is words of affection. And I'm going, words of affirmation, sorry. And I'm going, oh, okay, that's a good thing to know, right? It's always a good thing to know. And so what I then found to understand was, as I was retired and spending more time at home, she'd say things like, "Boy, you did a really good job washing those clothes." I thought that was really great. I really enjoyed that. The dishwasher, everything's clean. She was getting very good at affirming all those things that I can do now. I'm not sure that that's the way it's supposed to work, but it seems to be going very well. So we are here tonight. We're very, very honored to have you here. As Julie mentioned, right? It's not the journey, it's the people you meet along the way. We've had a tremendous opportunity to meet a wide range of people in a number of different places. And so, when we think of those, and Julie mentioned those, pardon me for repeating them, but, in our current home in Framingham, we found the neighborhood that we haven't, felt that we've had in a long, long time. Very, very, loving and warm people. Jim and Patty, who have been just wonderful in terms of reaching out and meeting us. Ali and Pete, who have two amazing young sons, but they haven't heard this before, but we're always marveled at how great parents they are. I mean, they're just amazing, amazing parents. So it's been really, really, really nice. Wes Straub and his partner Marnie, Wes and I worked together at Thermo Fisher Scientific. scientific. Wes is a pretty humble guy, but he's probably the smartest guy I've ever met in my life. It's just a real pleasure to have known him and worked with him, but just very, very happy that he's here. Chuck Oler, we have a number of people here from Florida. We're glad that they were able to come up and at least enjoy some of this cold weather. So it remind us of what we put up with. Chuck and I met probably 2010. We were business colleagues and have been, Chuck ran his own company in Wisconsin, and he's been a real mentor to me in terms of both leadership and friendship in terms of over the years. And so I appreciate Chuck being able to be here. Gracie and her cousin, Gracie and I again met back in that tragic time in New Jersey. Meeting Gracie was tragic. But Gracie is someone who will, will do everything she can to help and support you, and has always been there for me in terms of an outreach, and I really appreciate that. In terms of Buffalo, in terms of Williamsville, New York, we have our friends Mike and Mary Grace who are here, who have been tremendous friends for us. Mike and I share a cigar and share a whiskey, on the back patio, and that's been really helpful. He's here with his niece Ellen, who's a geneticist and a scientist. So if you really want to know anything about science and genetics, please talk to Ellen. John LaRusso, who we met because John and Ruth, his departed wife, looked after Darby, our dog. And number one, loves Darby more than we do. Number one, has always been a friend to us, and we really do miss Ruth. She passed away a couple of years ago, and are just so happy, John, that you were here to be able to spend the time with us tonight. In terms of Westford, it was so important, when we had the opportunity to move back, to choose a place that Julie would be able to be surrounded by her friends. So for Rupert and Joanne and Vicky and Chip, to be able to be here and be able to be supported by them. Bruce and Kim departed for Sarasota, so we don't get to see them here in Massachusetts, but we do get to see them down in Florida. Funny thing about Bruce and Kim, when they first met, when they first moved to Westford, Bruce and Kim moved from Arizona to Westford, so they come up here to Massachusetts in the winter. Bruce said to me, "Hey Bob, why don't we share a snowblower?" And I thought, oh, this is great, we'll split a snowblower. Not a word of a lie, I think every snowfall after that, Bruce is away on a business trip. Unbelievable how we go. Oh, yeah, that's probably, I take that back west, I'm sorry. And Joe and Sandy, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you. And Joe, I can't tell you how much I appreciate, we were able to go down to the Bruins games, and really, that was something that was very, very special to me, and I appreciate that. Kirsten and Brian's not here, unfortunately, Mary Pat's here, but Kirsten has been a real support for Julie as well, and I'm just very, very thankful that they're here to help us. Kurt and Carmel, we've actually known since Rockville, which is great. They were able to move up here to Massachusetts. We haven't been able to spend nearly as much time as we would have liked to there. But, it's one of those, Kurt and Carmel are those type of people who are, just touchstones in terms of the earth. And, people who you can literally, having not seen or talked to in many, many years, just, rekindle those friendships and have them immediately back there. So we're very, very, very appreciative of all of you being here. My relatives and Denise, family, and partners, just thank you so much for being here. Denise and the kids came down from Montreal. Alex and Tommy, just wonderful to see you growing up and seeing the progress you have made. Chris and Lynn. Lynn's actually from Switzerland, if any of you have not found that out. They're going to be married in Montreal, so congratulations on that. They're looking for their first home. And Natalie, who has spent the last couple of years in the UK, and met John there. They're visiting here, and so came over from the UK. And so we're extremely privileged to have everyone come in from all of these different areas to be able to celebrate with us tonight. And Eric and Leah, you know, we love you. Okay. So, you know, really wonderful to share this night and this occasion. And again, it's the people that you meet along the way. But Julie, love of my life, done so much for us and for our family. I'd do it all again with you in a heartbeat. Hope you feel the same. And I love you truly, and I'm always happiest when I'm with you. Thank you very much.